are back in the saddle, y'all. It is a new at Sephora today. I went to Sephora, I made an order from Sephora, and I made an order from Hourglass to get the new foundation before it was even in Sephora, but I think it's in Sephora now. So today we have the new Hourglass Illusion Luminous Glow Foundation. This is a sunscreen broad spectrum SPF 30. This is a reformulation of one of their classic foundations, I want to say. We got 26 shades in this bad boy. I got shade 2. The active ingredients that they do not list on their website: avobenzone, homosalate, and octisalate. I got 2 of the new YSL Blushes. I don't know why they do this. If someone could explain it in the comments, I would be very grateful. Why do they only release like the mainstream shades and then they like save the beiges for later? Because the beiges are not on Sephora yet, and then you can access the page to look at them on YSL, but you can't add them to cart. It's a different landing page to be able to add to cart on YSL's website, and you still can only get the same ones that are on Sephora. So this is like round 1 of these. I do very much intend to buy the weird ones also, but we have here 42 and 44. I did try these already. I'm gonna be honest, 42 does not look very good on me, which is kind of surprising because it looks very similar to like NARS Thrill and other things, but it's like that plus a little bit of iciness, so I'm not sure this one's gonna go on my face today, but we have this one as well. So this is 44. She's gorgeous. We'll probably be using that one today. We have a case of Too Many Products, Not Enough Lips today, but I bought 2 of the new Makeup by Mario lip glosses because I'm a reviews channel. I just wanted to kind of verify that the formula was good. And then we are back in liquid lip balm territory out there. So these are the new NARS Afterglow Lip Oils in Far Away and Wondrous. These do have that like plushy feeling to them. I really like these. The colors are way less saturated than they look like they're in the tube. So depending on where the makeup look takes us, that's going to go on my mouth today as well. And I picked up one of these. So when I was in Sephora with Natalie, she told me that the shade range expansion on the Hollywood Contour wand from Charlotte Tilbury is not just for deeper shades, that there was actually one lighter shade as well. Just for clarity's sake, I bought this in store, and so I didn't really take inventory of like the new shade range versus the old one. This is not like a shade expansion, it's like a shade replacement. Like they took out fair, medium, medium deep, and then they just put in like a real shade range, which we love to see. So it's not like, oh, my shade is new, everyone's shade is new. None of these things is a first impression. We'll be pulling in some other things and talking about like second impressions probably, or like, you know, longer term impressions on them. And let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, so this new Hourglass foundation is interesting. It reminds me of some things. It reminds me very much of the original Laura Mercier tinted moisturizer, but it doesn't have quite, and I'm speaking from the middle of January as a very dry-skinned person living in the northeastern United States. So like it is worst case scenario for my skin to be able to like make itself supple in any way. So take that into consideration when I say this, but like it's not as glycerin-y feeling as the Laura Mercier. It might be, my skin might just be like horrible, but it does have weirdly like that SPF whipped thing to it. It's kind of like you gotta, you know? And for all the 26 shades, this is shade 2. It's a little bit peach looking, and then I get it on my skin and it's fine. Let's give it a whirl. Because for 26 shades, I was kind of hoping, oh shoot, actually, hang on. I wanna like prime one side more. So I'm gonna do this because I have just like my regular skincare on one side, and then I'm gonna prime the other side with like a dewier primer. That's where I was going with that, but the ADHD just took the wheel. I have a little bit of like lip prep on as well. That was the Thrive. You can see the color is a pretty good match by the time you get it on. What I was saying is that for 26 shades, I was expecting to be able to find something a little bit more neutral than this. It is still like very saturated for a fair shade, but once you get it on, it's fine. I'm gonna prime this side of my face real quick with the One Size Secure the Glow Tacky Hydrating Primer. This is just to kind of test and see if the appearance of it by the time I get it all on is helped by this or if it's really necessary. I already had the Westman Atelier serum on my face, but I still consider that to be skincare as much as it is skin prep. And honestly, like my regular skincare, just my moisturizer, my SPF, were not going to cut it. Like it would have been setting this foundation up for failure. Like, it's obviously not on par with like the Patrick Ta, for example, in terms of having its own state of dewiness. And someone did actually ask in my comments recently whether I still use this Danessa Myricks balm in order to give my skin life before I put foundation on. And I thought about doing it today, and then when I swatched it, I was like, there's no dry down on that. Like, it might work, but I don't think that that's a particularly scientific way to show it to y'all for the first time. I'm gonna test it on my own time. I also, this is from Epilating, any below the skin, it feels, is there a line? Meow, meow. It feels really secure. There's something lovely about that. Like, yeah, it's not the dewiest thing in the world, but it's also not sludgy. It has a really, really secure feeling dry down. I think that this is ideal for normal skin types or combo skin types, but I also think that it can be easily manipulated to work for people who need oil control. You could use an oil controlling primer or something with it. I can already feel it just kind of pulling at the moisture on my face. That's a weird thing to say. It's just, it's drying down in a way that feels a little bit stiff, and that gives me anxiety. I will say, I have been gatekeeping, as the girls say, the Lisa Eldridge face mist because I keep it in my bathroom as like skincare. It's bananas, it's so good. Plus I don't want to get it in this room because I know it will just get like lost in the carnivorous of it all in here. And so I just want to say that I tried this the other day by itself, no powder, and it started to dry down pretty aggressively, and I used the Lisa Eldridge mist on it and it saved it. Stuff is pretty incredible. All right, so all of these little blemishes on my face where I have mashed things because I had no self-control and a touch of anxiety over the weekend. Really good opportunity to give these a second demonstration. Whoa, though. Wow. Just bonking around in my collection, the label is already starting to rub off of this. That's happened with Lisa Eldridge's other things, but like, I think maybe we need to like give the gold lettering people a call and be like, y'all, can we get a little more tenacity on that? Like, obviously it doesn't affect the performance of the product, but I know that Lisa Eldridge does not want that to be happening. You can't really see it because of my lighting, but like, it's almost half gone. Just gonna do a little bit of this. The comments on that video are so funny to me. There was one person who was like, you can just melt down a concealer and put it in an old empty container of a retractable eyeliner. I was like, no, you can't. Like, they were talking about it like, you don't need to buy this. This is such an easy solution. They're like, I did it all the time. I'm like, I would love to see that. I would love to see a demonstration of that. And then other kind of naysayers were like, we've been pinpoint concealing the whole time in the 90s and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I lived in the 90s, okay? I was very aware of what was going on in the 90s, and nobody was taking a brush out. No one had a concealer brush unless you were like in the industry. They were working with those little wedge sponges dry, or their fingers, and the complexion matches were not good. And so people were actually just dabbing and then just mashing it with their finger, and then it would oxidize and it would be very clear where you had the concealer and where you didn't. So I think that people's memories are a little bit generous of that time period because I saw the makeup, okay? No one was doing this. Not in real life. I almost don't even feel like I need to blend it. Let's see, what have we got here? This is a little brush from Hourglass. I think we can use to blendy here. The color isn't ideal now that it's dried down. I wonder if shade 1 might have been better. So I'm gonna use a little bit of the Vive concealer here. This is in shade Light 1, and I'm going to use that to disguise the jawline a little bit over here. Yeah, it's just kind of oxidizing a little bit on me. Not ideal, not my favorite. And when I was replacing my battery a second ago, I looked really closely in the mirror, and I think I didn't let the primer dry down long enough probably, but at the same time, that side looks bad. Okay, next we have a new contour, and we rarely have new contours. Usually I'm just like yapping through contour and bronzer, but we actually have a new one today. So Charlotte Tilbury has released Fair. I don't know how many shades she added to the range, but this one is definitely new. I'm going to use a little bit of that. You know, I haven't been able to use the lightest shade in this before on my face, like directly onto my face, like you see them do, you know? So maybe we do that today and see if it works. I did use this just on a sponge off the back of my hand before, and it worked really, really beautifully. So I know that it does work. It is really possible, but look at that color. Let's compare that really quickly to something like Makeup by Mario Fair. I'm gonna bet that they're pretty similar. Charlotte's is a little tiny bit yellower. It's not quite as desaturated, not quite as rosy. I would not say that it's like olive, but I think it would maybe work on olive complexions, but so would the Makeup by Mario. Oh, that was really fun, actually. One of the things that we were trying to diagnose over the weekend, because Natalie, this was her first time coming to my house and playing with my makeup and everything. We were really, once and for all, trying to diagnose her undertone because she has the world's most bananas undertone. She's what I call like an algorithm breaker. Like anything that is like a system that's supposed to kind of like include everyone, she's always the one where like, oh, it doesn't work for me, you know? And so like as we're looking at the way that makeup reacts on her, it's like all lipstick wants to turn kind of gray. Everything wants to turn kind of orange on her skin, but like it's like red orange almost, and then pink. Like she can wear things that are so much pinker than I can. Like she looks really, really great in like a pink lip liner or a pink lipstick or something, or a very pink blush that I just can't wear. And I'm like, I think that you have a teal undertone. You know, like I was just like putting it together. I was like, your skin acts kind of blue and it acts kind of olive. Like I truly think that she is. I'm like staring at her skin. She has, you know, very fair skin. And so if she has redness, it can kind of obscure what you're looking at. But having stared at her for an entire weekend, I was like, yeah, I think that you have a very rare teal undertone. Youth special. Yeah, okay, so that worked. I am not gonna say that it was the most effective thing in the world. I think we could probably wear more than that. And so I'm going to apply more of that. So, moral of the story here, I think you can be pretty aggressive with this stuff, you know? It's super agreeable. I mean, if y'all haven't been on my channel for more than like a year or something, you probably wouldn't know that I think that her matte beauty blush ones are like pretty much a perfect product. I am just constantly in awe of how easy they are to use. I am not surprised that this is as easy as it is. I might be overdoing it, but I'm overdoing it for science. But yeah, I'm actually starting to gain the appreciation that people have for this product because I didn't really like it before, and that's because it was kind of too contrasty and a little too hard to work with for me. And having a shade that works a lot better, I'm able to appreciate the specialness of it. It's very, very lovely. It's super easy to work with. And like I said, you know, you kind of have to work to overdo it. Almost left the soul patch there. Notorious. Yeah, you have to work to kind of overdo it, but you can get a lot of flexibility out of it. Since we have powder blushes, I'm gonna go in with a powder bronzer here. So I'm gonna use the Armani real quick in the shade 90. One of my favy faves. Favy faves, there we go. That's looking a little bit more normal. It's all about context. Okay. I don't think that that's going to stand in the way of y'all seeing the color of these blushes because they're really exactly what they are. It's not like the Gucci ones where they're like so subtle that you're like, whoa, what's the undertone of that beige? And like you really need to see it on bare skin. Like the colors that they put out so far that we have access to buy are pretty clear. It's clear what they are. I love how I said that like I was not going to buy another Dior dupe, but they gave us so few shades in this that I was like, look, I just want to see. And we're gonna swatch it next to Thrill from NARS here. Yeah, the main difference here is that the YSL has a very noticeable amount of kind of iciness to the finish, and that's what makes it look really not good on me. I can wear this very easily. The YSL, no. This has a substantial amount of shimmer to it. Normally when I say that something has a shimmer in a blush, I'm always like, it's negligible. You know, once it gets on the skin, it's just a blur. This is not negligible. It really adds to iciness on the skin, at least in that shade. And then we have shade 44. I don't know the names of them. I really wish that they would just put the names on them. It'd be a lot easier for us to navigate, but I'm going to put a little bit of that here. And this is just a really organic looking color on me. You know, it looks like that's what my cheeks would probably do on a really good day. If I was in the sun and maybe the rest of my face was actually naturally tan like this, which it really never is, but you can see though, I mean, we're still getting sheen. That is not my favorite thing. You know, I actually wonder if I want to buy the other shades when they do come out, because it's like, if they're gonna have that much sheen to them, maybe they're not, maybe they're matte, I don't know. But I think that they are all this kind of similar formula. And if that's the case, I mean, that is just, it's a lot of shine for a blush. It's not my favorite thing. I'm gonna go in with a smaller brush here. This is the BK104. And I just kind of wanna, here. So you can see a little bit more local color. It's so reflective. Like, that's a beautiful color. I really like it. I'm gonna wear it, but like, I don't know if I wanna wear it alone. As I've been making orders from Hourglass and then also receiving PR from them, they've been sending me like a scattered light here and there. And so I ended up with Burnish. I bought Burnish. They sent me a new Ray and they sent me Aura, but I think that Burnish is the direction I want to go today. This is a true copper. I've never used it before. I love this formula, but I've never used that color before. Maybe this is the day that I do a non-tonal look. OMG. Although I think that the best way to go about this is to start with Bobbi Brown Cinnamon, which will shock exactly no one. But we have enough new products in this video. I don't think that anybody's going to be mad if I like zoom through my eyeshadow real quick. On my brows today. Natalie kind of hunted this down in my PR. She was like, you'll probably like this. It's a brow gel from Typology. And I was like, I don't even know I got that. That's how disorganized I am. It's not ungrateful, it's disorganized. So this is the, oh boy, fortifying brow gel. I said oh boy because it's mostly in French, you know, God help me. And I got it in the shade Soft Brown. All right, let's swatch some lips here. We might swatch them on my lips. I want to start though with my hand here. Okay, first starting it off with Bare. B-A-R-E, right? From Make It by Mario. I know that this sounded like the boring shade, but it's not clear, obviously. It's just kind of a soft brown, like a very, very, very washed out brown. It's really pretty. These smell, as I get older, and man, some people really pushed back on me in the comments about like loving a gourmand scent in my tepid takes, but I do feel like we had a choice here whether we could go vanilla or vanilla cupcake, and we went vanilla cupcake. Like, it smells kind of like vanilla icing, which doesn't really bother me, but like, I do wish they could have gone another way with it. Scents are really personal. Regardless, this is Cocoa, which I couldn't resist because it really looks like the one from House Labs that I think is kind of an underappreciated color, which I think is also called Cocoa. And it's a brown that has quite a bit of mauve to it, and that is nice. That means a lot of people can wear it. A lot. So there's no milkiness to these whatsoever. And I think that, I'm just gonna throw this out there, this has probably existed before, but whoever devised of this doe foot put some serious R&D dollars into it, because watch this. If I like wipe the doe foot off, it's going in the tube looking pretty bald. It comes back out loaded with product just in the tip. I mean, there are only so many things we can talk about in terms of innovation, right? When it comes to a gloss that's almost clear. And that's a pretty cool little innovation. I like that. All right, and then we have NARS Far Away. Far Away. Like not far away, far away. Like a far away beach. Far away island. And like I said, extremely sheer, more so than you would think. Obviously not as glossy or present on the skin. This is a liquid lip balm formula. If you're unfamiliar with a liquid lip balm formula, we haven't seen a lot of them lately, except in like the K-beauty, J-beauty space. I think that that's where it really originated from. Isn't that where everything originates from? But regardless, this was a formula that most people got familiar with because it was the one that like Rowan did. Rowan was Nikki Giroa's company before she did CL. That's a whole story. But they had this very memorable formula of liquid lip balm. I ended up buying all of them because it's not sticky. It doesn't bond with the lips particularly aggressively, and that's sort of the compromise. If you want something tenacious, you're probably gonna want something that feels a little stickier, and then if you want something that's not sticky at all, they do exist, they just don't really stick around on your lips as long as you might imagine. So, M Cosmetics has some, they vary in terms of pigmentation, like brand to brand or line to line. This one is really, really sheer. That was Far Away. And then we have this one, which if I hadn't seen Natalie swatch it, I wouldn't have bought it because it looks like, well, it looks pH color adjusting, first of all. If NARS has ever done a pH color adjusting lip product, I haven't seen it. I feel like they're above that, but it seems that no one is above that, Victoria Beckham. Regardless, this is Wondrous 520, and it is not pH color adjusting, and it is nowhere near as opaque as it looks in the tube. It's actually the most beautiful, cool, rich, very, very sheer berry color. I want to put this on just to show you. Screw it. Let's do all of them. Let's just do all of them. I'm gonna start with Bare first, obviously, because it has the least color to it. As much as I want to talk about how like this isn't special because it's just a clear lip gloss, that doe foot is really lovely. Like it's just such a funny little innovation that makes a lot of difference to me. So that's basically clear. It's just like a really nice sheer tan. I'm gonna take these off. Otherwise they're gonna get everywhere. I'm gonna go with Far Away next. It looks quite orange in the tube. So it works well with me because my skin wants to turn everything pink, but if things are prone to going orange on you, proceed with caution. Because it is kind of a rusty color in there, but you can see my lips just, we really sat there, Natalie and I was like, is this pH color adjusting? And she's like, it's not. And I was like, are you sure? Like, watch how it just turns pink on me. And she's like, I don't think it turned pink on you. And I'm like, I just watched my undertones like manipulate my eye, essentially, like when I put this on. Because it's like I put it on, I see the color of the product going on, and then it is so neutral pink once it gets on because of the color of my lips and because of my undertones. So be aware. I think this is kind of a funky color. This is one that's gonna look really different person to person to person because they've made some choices here. So then we're gonna go with Wondrous. I think I'm gonna go with Cocoa, and that's why I'm leaving it for last here. It's actually not the most aggressive form of the liquid lip balm. It's not exactly like Rowan. Like it doesn't have quite as much of that like bounce layer. It is supposed to be a gel oil hybrid, and you can feel that. It does have a little bit of like a lip oil feel to it, but it is definitely not a sticky gloss at all, at all, at all, at all, at all. So the oil might actually add to the tenacity of it on the lips. It is very much like the Afterglow Lip Shine. It's really low profile. That means that it's not gonna have quite as much of that like glassy thing where it like fills in all of the lines in your lips and everything. But that's great news for some people. You know, not everybody wants that. So that is Wondrous, very pretty. Then we have our friend here, Cocoa. I actually think that I might go back in with Far Away. That's a lot pinker than I was expecting. Yeah. That little bit of orange to this makes it go better with the copper on my eyes. Okay, the typology does have a little bit more hold than I thought once it dries down. That's nice. That was like the only first impression in this video. So, as far as the browns are concerned, here, let's go ahead and compare. So, we have the one in question, right? This is Cocoa, and it did go quite pink on me. Okay, there's that. Then we have my Kackie, my namesake, lip gloss. This is plumping. This is from Thrive, and it has a touch more yellow to it. And I think that that's what helps it go so neutral on my lips. So yeah, you can really see that on camera, like purple, and then a lot more like orangey yellow, which is interesting because it's like insanely desaturated, but it's just because this one looks so purple. Then we have the Haus Labs Cocoa, and this is something I'm very interested in. So this is a they claim that this is a plumping formula that doesn't have any sensation. So I didn't notice that it was necessarily plumping. I actually like that color better though. It's a little bit more true brown, not so purple. I also didn't notice any sensation, and I love this stuff. I think it's beautiful. It is that same kind of cool tone, but again, it does have a little more red and it a little less blue. Then we have my Finding Ferdinand. This is Haute Cocoa that I did. If you own this, like you don't need to go buy, I don't think you can go buy this right now, but if you own this, I just wanted to compare. This one's quite olive by comparison. Like it's very, very green. And then we have this one from Pound Cake. I've never talked about them on my channel, mainly because they went for this like color theory angle, which is to like correct your lip color, which bugs me a lot. I do not want to talk about correcting your lips or your lips being incorrect. I just don't like the way that that's coming at that. I don't think that that's a crime. It's just I disagree with that approach. So this is called browning, and it's for people who have dark lips, but they have unevenly pigmented lips. And then they also have a yellow one for people like me who have purple in their lips and want their lips to be more neutral or more pink. And I'm like, I mean, do what you want to do. I think that that's kind of like answering a question that no one asked. So anyway, that's browning, and it's a really lovely gloss. I think that they're really nice, but like, I just don't really understand the premise. And it smells also of a little bit differently, but also of kind of like a vanilla icing. This was the Makeup by Mario, that's the Kackie, this is Haus Labs, that's Finding Ferdinand, and then that's Pound Cake for reference. So let's talk final thoughts on the stuff that was new today. This is the Hourglass. I really like it for someone else. Like I really like it for someone whose skin is not quite as freaking dry as mine. The SPF is neither here nor there to me. It is not a negligible amount, but I also don't need that in my foundation. It's an SPF 30. And the main thing here, I'm gonna show you this side, because this side had the one size primer and it really like wrecked everything. I think it's because I didn't let it dry down. So that's on me, but this side looks fantastic. The only thing, well, I guess there are two things. One, again, I'm not sure that this is necessarily for my skin type, at least not this time of year. The other thing that bugs me is just that like the color was not ideal, and I think that I went for the one that was like most intended for me. I went back to double check, and the first few shades are all really strong in undertone. You don't get to a neutral undertone until shade 6. And it is light with neutral undertones, and then the next one is also a neutral undertone, and it's like, okay, maybe they're just in a weird order, but then I looked at that swatch and I was like, there's no way. Like, there's no way that that would be my shade. Like, I see it on the arm swatches, and I'm like, no, that would be way too dark. So I don't know. I don't know what they did. I wonder if like 6 months from now they're going to send me more of them, because Hourglass does tend to send me PR like really far after a release happens. So I might get a chance to try another one that's a lighter shade, but at the same time, I think that just this undertone is a little bit strong. It's just a little bit saturated, and I didn't love that. The YSL blushes, I kind of want to just save y'all some money on these. If y'all are interested, I will absolutely swoop in when they come out and buy some of the weirder shades, but I'm very unnerved by the iciness here, okay? Even if I'm able to get it to work, my biggest fear is recommending it to y'all and you putting it on and going, what in the ashy mica, Kackie? Why did you tell me to buy this? So that makes me really, really cautious to recommend it. They are very shimmery. They're shimmery kind of on the level of the Fenty blushes, although they might even be more so. It's, I mean, you can see. It's pretty, it is, but like the wrong color. This is something that I would love to be able to work with from a color theory standpoint because it's just fun. You know, I like to be able to manipulate color, but like the factor of the iciness just makes it too many moving parts for me. Again, it just makes me trepidatious. Trepidatious to try and recommend that to folks. There are just a lot of other better ways to go. Like if you want something that has that blurring quality to it, I will always recommend the RMS blushes. I just think that they do a fantastic job of that. And then also, if you want something weird and in-betweeny that also has like that beautiful blur to it, Hourglass exists. It does exist. The Hourglass blushes are always absolutely beautiful. And then there are the ones from Ravi from Ali Glines that are pretty much equally flattering and incredible. Those shades are also pretty dialed in. The addition of this Charlotte Tilbury contour wand to my collection, it means that Charlotte basically owns my contour routine at this point because she makes colors that are so easy to use. And I'm glad that I'm like included in it now because I can experience what the, I don't know, the sensation of it was to begin with. People love this formula because it's really, really easy to work with. Again, I'm obsessed. I was really impressed with the Matte Beauty blush wands, and this is just as easy to use. So many products have tried to mimic this, and so many products have also come in this container so that you know that they're trying to mimic this, and you can't use them directly on the face the way that this works. You know, like that's what impresses me the most, is because this is not just a gimmicky like, oh, you're on the go, I bet you want a sponge tip applicator in your product. It's like most contours aren't gonna work that way. Hers does. So I'm really impressed with this. I'm really glad that this color exists. I'm going to continue using this because it's really, really easy. It's really easy, so I get it now. And hopefully you got the lay of the land on these formulas. I don't necessarily think there's like an up or down to be had here. They're very good. I just wanted to give you all an idea of what they were like exactly, you know, as much as I could before one of you like bought it or got it in your hands or whatever. So like very typical tenacious, but also a little bit sticky lip gloss, like a typical like Glossier, heavy glassy, you know, that 90s lip kind of vibe. Comes in a gajillion shades. This one only comes in 4 right now. And I like it, I do. The only thing that I would say is just, I'm a little bit put off by the scent, but I'm redeemed by the weird freaking innovation that is that lovely little doe foot. I do think that I've seen it before, but still, me gusta. And then these, you know, I think that NARS, again, is being very, very calculated with what they're coming out with right now. They know that they have people's attention a little bit more lately, and so they don't want to blow it, but they also want to continue being NARS. To me, you know, my mental image of NARS is innovative and not gimmicky. They have beautiful colors, they innovate on formulas, and they don't have any scents, they don't have any sensations, anything like that. Everything that they do seems to be about like taking a new idea and kind of distilling it down to its most essential form, and I really appreciate that about them. I haven't always loved their lip formulas. Their lipstick, the Afterglow lipstick and the Afterglow Lip Shine, both like don't really want to stick on the lips, and these are a lot better in that respect. They're also nourishing. And while there are only 4 shades and one of them is Orgasm, obviously someone's buying it, it's just not me. There are only 4 shades currently. I hope that they expand this because it's just a really easy formula to wear. It's lightweight, it's pretty. It does have, again, that gel oil texture that's really comfortable to wear and doesn't slippy slide all around like their previous formulas have for me. And with the explicit lipstick in mind, I do feel like we're on a roll here. A roll of 2 data points at this point, but nonetheless, we're on a roll for really, really great lip formulas coming out of NARS right now. So these are a lot less pigmented than they look in the tube, which is probably great news. They're very easy to wear in every respect, and they don't have any flavor or sensation or smell. And that's all I've got for you today, y'all. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up. I'll have everything linked down below. If you have any questions, also leave those down below. I will try to answer as many as I can. If you are new here or you just haven't subscribed yet, subscribe while you're here. We have a lot of fun here. I just think that this is a kind of video that I would want to get on my feed. I only make content that I would want to watch, so hopefully you feel the same way. I'll put a video up here that I think you'll enjoy if you liked this one. Thank you all so much for being here. I love you tremendously, and I will see you in the next one.